Hello, welcome to the Reality Vomit Podcast, an extension of the Vomit series of podcasts. As always, I'm your host, Mac Taylor, and we are here today to talk about more Big Brother Canada 9, Episode 14. Heading into the eviction from Thursday, we are going to be talking about a little bit of spoilers, not a whole lot, just maybe a couple of things that I didn't really get to touch on last week because I was in a hurry to kind of get caught up with everything. And then also, we're just mainly gonna be an episode talk. Thursday episodes aren't really a lot of. It's probably not gonna be a long episode, but at the same time, got a couple of things I do want to address. One from last week, and one, what the trajectory is for potentially this week. So we start out. Austin knows she's pretty much done. It's her fault completely that she's in the spot that she's in. Because had she was the first HOH. Like, very rarely these days, in these Big Brother times, does the first HOH not find themselves in the majority alliance. Look at the last first HOH in Big Brother US. That was Cody Calafiore. He won. Look at the first HOH in Big Brother 21. Oh, hey, that was Jackson Mickey. Yeah, he's a fucking douche canoe, but he won too. Look at Big Brother 20. That was Tyler. He made the finals. The first HOH, usually, if you know how to use it socially, can be a huge benefit. I'm not entirely sure who was the first HOH in Big Brother Canada 7, but it was one of the pretty boys. So it might have been Dane or Adam. Either way, Dane won the game. So it's very imperative to win that first HOH if you know how to use it. Austin had it, and it only benefited the throuple. Austin baffles me because she acts like it's everyone else's fault that she isn't playing the game because she doesn't like them. Well, that's on you for going home. And Vic was shady about Austin's POV speech. I mean, she was laying into Austin. And again, I understand. I'm not happy with Austin right now, but Vic did it in a good television way. Vic is good feed. Like, I saw on Twitter last night, someone compared Vic, the way Vic does her, does her stuff is a lot similar to like old school Rachel Riley. I don't think she's as biting as old school Rachel Riley. I don't think she's as polarizing either. I think a majority of the fans like Vic, where even though she's not playing well, whereas Rachel, her first season, I think, was globally hated. And then it wasn't until, the next season on BB 13 where we kind of, grew to love her for the TV she was bringing. I know I did not appreciate her when she was on my TV. But now I do. But I could see the comparisons. I just don't think she's as biting, but I think she's quite good. Vic brings great television. It's just she doesn't bring the best gameplay. She thinks she does, but she doesn't bring the best gameplay. Ro also feels bad about not using the veto, but he's such a game bot. Like, even he's like, I guess he's trying to act like he's crying here, but he just does that thing where you put like your hand, like your thumb and your forefinger, kind of like on your forehead to obscure your eyes, and just act sad. That's not crying. That's just, it's almost like half a dab. Like, it's not, it doesn't really look like you're that conflicted, and it's fine. Ro is such a game bot that he's just incapable of having these emotional bonds with people, and it's cost him a lot in the game. But again, it's really interesting for me to watch. So Brey's actually worried he might go home. But really, in all reality, there was a small talk, which we'll talk about, of a Brey flip, but it was really never going to come to fruition. because Austin is just the easier one to hit at the moment. Like, Brey does talk to people. People want him in the game more. Austin has won some comps. Hasn't really talked to anybody besides Braden. There's like a multitude of reasons like why you probably shouldn't keep her. And then Vic puts Brey in full gaslight. Like, well, you know, like she tries to blame everybody else, even though, you know, this is all Vic's doing. Even though I think a lot of people will put Austin and Brey up, but because it's the invisible HOH, they take it as more of an insult. And then Austin's like, because Brey tells Austin kind of how it went down, and Tina's like all awkward, like hugging Vic, and like, I don't know, like it gets like super tense for a minute, and then Austin comes in and she's like, I'm just mad because nobody talked to us this week. Like, no one came up to us. I'm like, Austin, that's not how it works. When you're on the block, you go and you talk to people. If you think you're going on the block, you go. You take the initiative. Why in your mind do you think that everybody in this house needs to approach you, needs to want to have conversations with you? What do you have to offer anyone that would make them want to come up and have a conversation with someone who's going to go home because they have the inability to look past their own ego to play the game? A lot of people out there, a lot of people are saying, Austin is all-star material. She never gave in to anything. She did things her way. And now, in real life, IRL, doing things your way, not taking no for an answer, being 100% you is great. I do that myself. But that is not, you know, real life is not a game for $500,000 or $100,000 in their case. This is Big Brother, Austin. It's not real life. So in real life, where I would commend you for being yourself through adversity, this is a game. You signed up to play it. Fucking play it. Do not give me those stupid excuses about how you just wanted to do things your way and people should just come up to you. Go fuck yourself. That's not this game. You knew that coming in and you refused to play it, so I don't give a fuck that you're going home because you clearly don't care yourself. Frustrated. So Beth and the couple are celebrating getting by. Because the throuple has made jury. And even if they don't win the game, they are totally fine with partying and jury. And the throuple is like kind of like a likable version of Grateful. In the way of like, they're the dominant alliance. They're all intermingling. But they're not horrible people. Where a lot of people in Grateful I thought were just genuinely shitty people. I think Jed, Ty, and Beth are decent people. They are having a good time. And when they do try to play this game, they do a good job of it. So, you know, take your time, celebrate. You made jury. Woohoo. So Austin tries to smooth over Vic, and it's the worst person to try to be talking about a strategy with, because that's the one who put you on the block and has no vote this week. Also, why are you trying to smooth things over with people when you're already on the block? Like, you should have been doing this weeks ago. And she has a good, like, speech. She has a good, fired up pitch about, like, let's get this stuff together. Let's come at this other side of the house. And I'm like, yeah, all the points that you're making are completely valid. If you had not done this when you were in danger, that leads people to believe that you'll only talk to them if you're in trouble. And that does not mean they want to work with you. You needed to have left the bed with Braden, both of you went out, spread the seed, talked to people in conversations a lot like this, pulled people in and got them to trust you, and you wouldn't go home this week if that were the case. I think a lot of people want to keep Austin in the house, but she has given them nothing until now. So this is like the kind of the odd part of the episode where we have all this like strategy shit going on and like all this like the story of why Austin is leaving this week. Like it's all playing out really, really like in depth. And then for some reason, we're like, let's lighten the mood. And I'm like, why though? Like the eviction episode really shouldn't be that light. Like we should be hammering this why X went home. But the haves have to make a spaghetti dinner and just trash the fucking kitchen. I mean, just trash it. And then the haves have to clean it up. And when the haves clean it up, they will be rewarded with a meal. But the have-nots don't know that the haves are doing this. They don't know they've been tasked with this. All they know is that Beth, leading the charge, gets sauce all over the... And it's great because like she's throwing sauce and smashing meatballs and boiling whole ass noodles, and like the sauce kind of goes up a little bit, like when it hits the counter, kind of pops off a little bit, and it gets on Austin's like white jacket, and it's the smallest stain, but I get it. It's a white jacket, and that jacket's probably expensive. I'm not gonna lie. I understand why you're mad a little bit, but god damn, Austin went off, and like production could not have had this go any better. Austin's like, her and Brey leave, and she's like, I can't. She's crying in the shower. She's like, I can't believe they put me on slop. They put me on the block. I'm next to my best friend. I'm probably going home, and now you got sauce on my jacket. And I'm like, that is really a series of bad luck. But at the same time, again, part of that you did to yourself. The other part, maybe not so much. I was just a little overkill, but. Like the sauce in the jacket, but that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Vic has a way of saying things sometimes, like pasta sauce, which, you know, I understand that Canadians sometimes pronounce things differently, you know, because if you're from a different place, the pronunciations. And I've heard pasta before from Degrassi The Next Generation. It's that episode where Marco came out to Spinner when he was like, you got a hot girl waiting at the dot and you're talking about your mom's pasta sauce? Like that. Okay, so I've heard that before. But she has a way of saying audacity where she says, the audacity. The audacity. And I'm like, what? What is she saying? The audacity. And I'm like, oh, audacity. Why are you saying it like that? So the have-nots clean it up, and it's just one huge Sunlight commercial. Because they're pointing at the labels. They're like, wow, good thing we have all these Sunlight cleaning products to clean this mess in the Big Brother house. So, you know, it was a big mess they cleaned up. I'm glad they got to eat after it, because that would have been real shitty if they decided to clean that up just for the Sunlight commercial. So, and the Habs served them the meal. So that was nice. It was, like I said, it was a decent spot, but really, like, I didn't really care much. Again, it was one big reason to highlight Sunlight. That was the whole reason. They're like, wow, we sure do make messes in the Big Brother house. It's a good thing that we have all these Sunlight cleaning products. I was like, go fuck yourself with your shameless plugs. So Jed then, like, lures Keith out of the backyard because it's raining. He's like, yeah, Jed or Ty called you, and then there was just an excuse for him to kiss Beth in the rain. And you know what? I'll take this moment. Maybe not so much right after the whole Sunlight commercial thing, but like, yeah, the throuple's cute. Like, they're doing their thing. They out here in these streets. Everyone's consenting to all the stuff that they're doing. It's great. No one's feelings are hurt right now. This is a good time. It's a good time for everyone. So Tina and Tara think about flipping it on Brey because they view Brey as more dangerous, which is true because after this week, Brey will, if he could survive like the next week or two after Austin's gone, he will slip to the back. Like it's going to be very, very hard to keep the target on Brey once he is alone. So I understand their thought process on that. Austin's a bigger target. You keep the bigger target in the game, someone might still go after her, especially like Vic. But they don't really know where Austin's head's at. And like, that's bad. And the only person that does come up and talk to them is Brayden. So they're like, yeah, we probably don't have the votes, and Austin isn't really talking to us anyway, so I guess we won't do this flip. And I'm like, Austin, where was that fire like 5 minutes ago? Get in there, work these two, get this vote flip. Which really is more of Tara trying to lead the Brey charge, and Tina was just like, well, we can't get it done. And she's like, well, what if we? And she's like, no, we don't have the stuff. We can't get it done. Well, what if we went about? No, Tara, we don't have the stuff. It's Tara really doesn't like to let shit go. We saw what she did with Kyle. And then Tara actually tells Brey her concerns about Brey staying in the house. Did I say concerns? Wow, I really accentuated that shit. I'm making fun of Vic for the whole audacity thing. Tara tells Brey her concerns. And I'm like, about him staying. And I'm like, why are you telling someone why you're hesitant to keep them when everyone else is going to keep them anyway? So they're definitely staying, and you know this. And you're going to be like, well, here's why I thought about voting you out. And you're like, what? No! That's not. What are you doing? Tara always does this. She just unnecessarily is like, well, here's why I don't like you. And I'm like, no! Tina, your game. Protect it. This is your number one. You need to calm her down. And they all agree, though, that the shot at Jedi Beth needs to be taken. The throuple needs to be taken a shot at. Yes, because this whole thing has been about splitting up duos, but there's a trio right there. We need to cut that shit at least to a duo, and then cut it again, so there's one per. We really need to take a shot twice to like only one can survive this trio for a while, right? In my mind, that's how I would view things, how they would need to go down. So Austin then tries to get Beth, of all the people, the person that she has shit talked maybe the most. And she has a good pitch for Beth. Where Beth's like, I know I can't, ride it out to the end with these two guys. They'll take each other, which is what she said to Ro. But Austin has the correct response. But she's also campaigning to stay, so she needs to be more aggressive, unlike Ro, who needed to, lay low. Where she's like, you should take out Brey this week and keep me behind the guys' backs. And they would be like, can you imagine me and you sitting together at the end and being like, we did this, on Invisible HOH. We took the power away from them. And instead of me going home, we switched it around. And I'm like, that's actually a good pitch to try to feed someone's ego about how it makes them look good at the end, but also gets you where you need to go. Because you don't have to honor that. But, what she really means is when I'm sitting in the end, that'd be a great thing for me to say. So, and if she was sitting in the end next to Beth had the throuple. She didn't necessarily, so if she makes it to the end, she had a little bit more of a case at that point if she played better from this point on. So she tried there. But one, it doesn't really benefit Beth to go against the guys right now. She needs someone else to take a shot at one of them to go right now. It's too early for her to knowably go against them, right? And also, she's like, why should I do this for Austin? What has Austin ever done for me in this game? So, it's too little, too late. But again, where was this Austin 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago, the whole game. Where has she been? Because this Austin has some really good ideas. So Austin she's also really selling like, well, karma is going to come back and whoever did this to me. And I'm like, and me and Brey put us on slop and got spaghetti sauce on our shirts. Really selling it. I'm like, it's a little much, Austin. Like, you're karma is a thing, but like bringing it up every other time you're on TV is not the best way to like make me want it to happen. So we get the votes, and by a unanimous 7-0 vote, Austin is evicted. And in her conversation with Arissa, we don't really get a whole lot. But in her goodbye messages, Vic gets savage. She said, "This is Big Brother, not Find Your Duo." And I'm like, oh my God, that's so true. Tell him, Vic, tell her. And she gets straight savage in his goodbye message. And I love it because Austin's not in the jury. You don't have to manage those goodbye messages as much. It's the jury you need to not do this kind of thing for, right? But yeah, she nailed it. She's like, the only time you were invisible in the house. The only time you should be invisible is when you're in the invisible HOH. I did this to you. And I'm like, that's such a good, like, again, Victoria knows how to be good TV. She does not know how to actually play the game well. But she knows how to at least present herself in a way that's very sellable. She can have a career in show business. This girl knows how to do it. She knows how to work it. I'm very proud of her. So we get like this, they were showing like images of like the Big Brother Canada calendar, and they had to memorize like things about it. The elimination order for this comp is Vic then Tara, so the two finalists of the last one out in this one. So playing back-to-back HOHs didn't really help Vic, but she took a good shot. Then Tina, then Ro, then Keith, then Ty, then Brey. Comes down to Jed and Beth. Beth is the HOH, meaning the throuple will make the final 8. And that ends the episode with Beth as the new HOH. If you don't want any spoilers or feed talk, go ahead and hop out now. I will see you next time on the Monday recap. If you're okay with spoilers, if you want to continue the conversation, you want to hang out with me some more, that's great. That's what we're here to do. So, for those of you stuck around, we're going to start that talk right now. So, the thing from last week I really want to touch on that I didn't get a chance to talk about necessarily last time is that Jed and Ty really started to show an understanding of things. Like, it's all about duos right now, and me and you don't need to be seen as a duo. So they go and do work, on their own a lot. They're very rarely together, but they're on the same page. And that's some golden shit. That's what Austin and Brey should have done. Because Austin and Brey are so close, they don't need to always be around each other to know what the other one wants, right? So, Jed and Ty are doing this successfully. They managed to pull Vic in even more by saying, hey, it's me, you. I believe it was Jed talking to her. Says, it's me, you, and Ty. We're the Ghost Peppers. She's like, oh my God, it's named after me. He's like, yeah, that's how much we want to work with you. And she's like, oh my God. Because in her mind, she's like, yes, this is the greatest thing in the world. And she's like, well, what about Kiefer? He's like, he's on the outside. He's on the outskirts of it. And Beth, and she ignores the Beth part because she's like, my guys, I'm with them. Taking out LT worked. And really, in all reality, this is bullshit. Jed and Ty couldn't give a damn less if Vic goes home at all. But keep her close, because if she does win HOH again, she's not going to come after you. So, good job, boys. Like, you're starting to get it. So Beth's plan, I think as of this hour, she has nominated Rohan and Tara, and her plan is to win the veto, to someone to win the veto, take themselves off, throw Vic up, and backdoor Spicy V this week. Which would hurt Spicy V's ego that the one girl she left in the alliance with the guys would get her. That would be great television. Like, from the grave, LT shanks Vic right to the jury. This is also going to be a double eviction week, so V is going to be quickly joined by someone else. So I want this so bad. I want this so bad. Guys, you have no idea. I want Vic to get backdoored. And then for some random way, Beth goes out next. And now Vic and Beth are in the jury together. I need that in my life. But Jed and Ty don't want Vic to be backdoored. They really just want Ro to go out the dodo. But it won't necessarily happen. Like, Beth's the HOH. If, like, Ro wins POV and Vic goes up, Vic and Tara, Vic's going home. Like, that's a done deal. Now, if it's, like, Vic and Ro, like, if Tara goes off, you know, maybe they could still try to get Ro out. But, you know, I think if Beth can push this agenda enough, I don't think people have a problem taking out V. So, you know, Spicy V may be the first member of the jury. But at least she made jury. She's made great television. She's done her... she wanted to come on here and be a character. I don't really think she wanted to come on here necessarily be a great strategist. And she did what she wanted to do. So with that ends our conversation here about Big Brother Canada. Stay tuned next time when we talk about the Monday recap. Also, guys, Challenge All-Stars started. I'll be posting, hopefully later today, be posting my recap of the Challenge All-Stars first episode, which was great and gold, and I'm glad to be covering that one live. All right, so don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and stay tuned next time. Stay safe, most importantly, guys, stay nerdy.